She went years without a place to call home and sometimes days without anything to eat. On this week's Inspirational Moments with Mikea, a local woman talks about a time in her life when she lost everything. Today, she uses what she's learned from that experience to help others, and Mikea joins us now in the studio with more on the story.
Absolutely. Well, every adolescent experiences some degree of growing pains. In fact, it can be a pretty tough stage of life to get through. This was the case for Gabrielle Lightfoot just a few years ago when she had more than a couple odds stacked against her. Today, she opens up about a past of homelessness and abuse and how she managed to conquer it all.
We had a nice house, you know, pool in the backyard.
25-year-old Gabrielle Lightfoot says life as a child started out picture perfect.
You know, it's just like camera coded perfect.
But as she reflected in a quiet room at Promise Place, a local youth shelter, Gabrielle's fond memories turned grim.
Little by little, my parents, we figured out they was on drugs.
That was more than a decade ago, and from there, everything went downhill.
The utilities got cut off, and then the water got cut off, and then we got evicted.
A fifth grader at the time, she and her family lost everything and lived homeless for 6 years.
They spend their money on drugs, and we don't eat. So we'll go to different shoppers or different stores and we'll steal and get our food, or we'll go to different restaurants and beg for food. We lived in different shelters, DC, Maryland, and the family members got tired of us. Then we lived in a van and in the hotel rooms.
Finding a place to stay wasn't her only concern. She and her mother endured unrelenting abuse from her father.
He hit me so bad a couple times. I had to stay out of school for weeks at a time.
Hoping to buy some time to regain stability, the family traveled from one relative's home to another until a warm welcome turned cold.
Our family members just, I guess, didn't want to help us anymore. They were just tired.
If you take a look around here in this dormitory-style room in a local youth shelter here in the county, you'll see about 10 beds equipped with towels, comforters, sheets, even a soft pillow. This is all something that Gabrielle says is like heaven compared to what she and her family had to get used to.
The shelters that we lived in, you had urine on the floor, you had crack addicts, you had people trying to rape you.
Gabrielle was 14 when her mother died. She was later placed in a foster home. When she turned 18, she and her boyfriend, now husband, started the beginning of their new life.
I got my apartment at 17 in February. I turned 18 in March, and I had my daughter in April. So it's like when I had her, I believe that's what brought me through it. I wasn't living for me no more. I had somebody else I needed to take care of.
Today, the mother of two works for Prince George's Department of Social Services. When she's off the clock, she gives back by mentoring struggling youth. This is what she tells them.
Don't give up, you know. God put you through things because he trusts you for your hurt, because he know you're going to do something with it. You know, I mean, I believe that everybody will have a testimony. If you haven't been through anything in your life, you will.
And if you or someone you know needs an emergency shelter, call the homeless hotline at 1-888-731-0999. Also, if you're interested in donating to Promise Place, the county's first youth shelter in more than a decade, call 301-909-6330. And I should just mention here that Gabrielle is currently working on a book that sort of touches a little bit more on her past. So she has a lot to say, and soon all of you will be able to read it.
Well, I'm sure it'll definitely be an interesting memoir. Thank you so much, Mikea, for sharing her story with us.
You're welcome.